Hello, beautiful people. This is Dawn. Thank you so much for stopping by. I thought I would talk about toxic positivity. I know a lot of people have been talking about it lately, but I've been thinking about it, and there's some things that people are not equating with toxic positivity that I think should be. And people are talking about some of the things that I'm going to discuss here, but not necessarily as this is a bad thing or this is a good thing. And I'm lumping it into toxic positivity because you think it's a positive thing, but not so much. Okay, so toxic positivity, very briefly, is about, say, somebody's going through something, they're depressed, or maybe they lost their job or something, and somebody says, well, it could be worse, or this is a lesson that you're learning, or something like that. They're trying to be nice and they're trying to be helpful, but they don't realize that what they're doing is dismissing the whole emotional experience the individual is going through. And basically, you're telling that person that their emotions don't matter, they're not important, what they're feeling is not important. So we have to really be careful about what we're saying to people. But at the same time, I have found that we are developing a society where people are afraid to speak their mind. They are afraid to share their opinion because they're afraid that it's going to come across as offensive and somebody's going to get upset. So, well, let me get into freedom of speech. All right, so here in the US, we have a constitutional right to freedom of speech. And what that means is that that right protects us from the government censoring us. So, Iran and China and Russia and Afghanistan, we're seeing people protesting, and they're being beaten and they're being arrested. They're being some are have been even killed or disappeared. That happens in China. You just disappear. Nobody knows where you are and what happened to you, and that's their thing. So that is not freedom of speech from the government. They are not protected from the government. And so here we have this protection. However, a company like Facebook or Google, YouTube is under Google, they can censor you legally because it's their company. They set the rules, they set the terms for of service, terms of service, and you have to abide with that, or they can kick you out, and they are entitled to do that. It's legal. But so I'm struggling with this because I know some of you are going to want to throw eggs at me, all right? So, and I understand that, but freedom of speech means freedom of speech. So, should we allow hateful speech? We're trying really hard to teach people to be respectful and kind and stuff like that, but are we overstepping our bounds by not allowing somebody to speak their mind, even if it is against the opinion of the group? Or on a campus, a university campus, they have these safe spaces where you can go and discuss things, and everybody's going to be kind and understanding, and they're not going to hurt you. You can say whatever you want, or can you? So there is this public shaming and bullying and attacking people, and we think they're doing a good thing because they're attacking the white supremacists and the hate speech and all of that. So is that okay? Or is that part of toxic positivity? Let's create a positive society where nobody says anything negative. We're all thinking happy thoughts. We're all happy. We only give out good compliments. We never give out constructive criticism of any sort, no judgments, nothing. Everybody's happy and everything's going just fine, and nobody confronts anybody, nobody does anything that might be considered offensive, or, and how do you know you're going to be offensive to another person? It's a matter of perspective. It depends on your how you see the world. So in this country, I'm trying to think of, like, there are words that, like, fanny. If you go to, I think it's England, and you say something about somebody's fanny, you're going to be looking at somebody who's very embarrassed because you just said something naughty. So, I mean, how do you know what you're about to say is going to offend the other person? So, it's a bit of a struggle, but I think if we all just stay focused on compassion and understanding and be open to constructive criticism. I appreciate somebody who believes different from me, who has a different opinion than I do, because that's how I learn. I put out on Facebook something about a national healthcare system, and somebody responded with an article that was against, not well, yeah, against a national healthcare system because of certain pitfalls. And I was very appreciative because I did not think of those things. Now, I'm still definitely for a national healthcare system, but I think that when we in America finally get around to developing a national healthcare system, we can develop it in such a way that we learn from the mistakes of other countries. We can do that, right? We don't have to have the exact same system as everybody else, so we can develop our own that's actually better and avoids those pitfalls. So, having a difference of opinion helps enlighten me and become a well-rounded and more intelligent individual, because I have more knowledge, and I have a perspective of somebody else looking at the same thing I'm looking at, and maybe they have a difference of opinion. If I stop and allow them to speak and be open and be willing to be changed by what that other person is saying or about to say, if I stay in that place, I will learn and I will grow. If I stay in a place of, well, you have a different opinion than I do, I don't agree with you, no matter what you say, I'm going to shut you down, I'm going to attack you, I'm going to bully you, I'm going to shame you in public so that you learn not to speak about those kind of things. Excuse me. So say, like, a white supremacist, a lot of those people are just afraid, and they have a misunderstanding of the cultures that are different than theirs. So and what can happen when you're afraid is you start making up some, or coming to some beliefs that aren't really true, but you think they might be true, and they get a little out of hand and a little crazy, like the replacement theory that that immigrants are going to replace us, and all the people who have jobs right now, they're going to lose their jobs, and these people of color are going to take over. No. That's not going to happen. I mean, we have integrated with other cultures here in America. And I think we've done a pretty good job, even with the prejudices and the racism and whatnot. We've done a pretty good job. We need to keep going and get better and better, because there are still people who are afraid of other cultures and other people from other countries coming in here and taking over. And I just don't think that's something we need to be afraid of, but that's my personal opinion. So toxic positivity is where we say you cannot speak anything negative. But what if I'm having a hard time? What if somebody, I'm really angry with somebody and I want to express that anger? Oh no, we can't do that. That's not positive. And then the positive affirmation people and the positive thoughts people, well, you have to continue to think positive thoughts. And if you feel angry, you got to stop that, stop it in its tracks and change those thoughts to positive thoughts. Otherwise, you're going to start manifesting things you don't want. But you're not dealing with the anger. You're not dealing with the frustration or the worry or the shame. So it festers. And when we don't allow people to speak and share their opinion, their fears, then in a safe space, meaning they're allowed to be negative, and we're there to support them. So say I have a friend who's very conservative. He's a Trump supporter. Love him to death. He's a very dear friend, old friend of ours. And he said that he says that Hillary Clinton was arrested and taken to Guantanamo Bay. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Was taken to Guantanamo Bay, and that's where she is now. So, Mark, why do we still see Hillary like in interviews and whatnot? And she wrote a book and stuff like that. Oh, that's her clone. They cloned her. Okay, Mark. You know that they have not developed that technology very well. So first off, you have to start as a baby, because that's how cloning works. You make a clone and it starts out as a baby. So I don't think that's going to work. Hillary is like, what, 80? In her 80s, 70s, 80s. So it's not, it doesn't make sense, okay? And they don't live very long. They have not developed that technology. So, the next thing is, well, it's a double. But she's still acting the same way. What's the point? So it's something, but I'm allowing him to speak his mind, his opinions. I'm not passing judgment. I'm just asking questions. I don't understand this, Mark. Can you explain it? I don't see it. I don't understand it. But I say it in a very loving and kind, understanding way. Compassion is key here. So somebody who's like a white supremacist, well, what makes you think that? What makes you feel that way? Why do you feel that is real and that's the truth? What are you seeing? Because I'm not seeing it. What are you seeing that makes you believe that is the truth? Whatever it is, the replacement theory, or the Jews. The Jews are taking over. They control everything. I don't see that. I'm not seeing that. All the Jews that I've ever met, I've met quite a few, and none of them cared a crap about controlling anything. So, except their own lives, just asking questions, and, I don't see it, so can you help me understand? And let them speak without criticizing them, without shutting them down. So that's how I see things. And the toxic positivity, I think we really need to be careful with this, because I think that we sometimes shut people down because they've got a negative opinion or thought or whatnot. We can't allow that. We need to allow it. We need to allow safe space for people to express their opinion that's maybe not so popular, or maybe you don't agree with. But they need a safe space to speak and help them process those emotions that they're experiencing, that they're feeling. So just thought I'd put that out there, and thank you so much for stopping by and watching, and thank you for your comments. I would love to hear what you think of this. Do something today that brings you joy, makes you feel good. I love you all, and until next time, blessed be.